going to let you go then. And then if you have any private questions with regards to mail merge or database, please ask me. I've made a little video on this question. Okay, the examiner came in yesterday especially for you to explain that. So I made a video while he was doing that. Okay, so let's quickly look at question 6a. Okay, I'm just quickly going to go to the my drive again so that I can just quickly get my student files. I think there was insert the header. Okay, I think they are asking you to actually do this Excel. So I'll just quickly get that. Okay, well, I can't get it. I must do it with you, but you must just bear with me now. Okay, so it says you must create a spreadsheet on the next page. So basically, if we have a look on the internal, then you are going to go to the next page. This is the next page. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to create that for you. So you just have to quickly bear with me. I didn't actually realize that this wasn't keyed in already, but maybe it's good so that you can see how to do it. So the first one is Tergniet holiday. Please take note. If it is in capital letters by now, you should know that you can't do that change we've done in Word. You know that change that I'm talking about, this. This is not applicable in Excel. It does not exist. I actually don't know why. That is increase and decrease of size. In other words, sorry, is there a question? If it's asked of you to put in capital letters, it's very important to remember that you need to use your capital or your caps lock. It's just easier than to just put in shift the whole time. Okay, now you will see on the template in front of you, 4 doesn't have anything in row 4, but row 5 has. Okay, so it says there booking form for the month of December 2020. Oopsie, corner. All of us will be dead by then. Okay, and then the sixth row is open again. Then you need to put in the date, and there's a colon there. And then 8 is again open row, and then there in 9 is the name with a colon. You've got your apartment code. I will wrap that text now. Let's just go over to C. Okay, maybe I should wrap it now. Can you see that the code goes over into a new line underneath apartment? That means even if you can see the word there, if you go into C and you see, it looks like your word is written over column B and C, but really it's not, because remember, your formula bar there at the top is showing you what's in the cell, and there's nothing. If you type in there, yes, then it's there. So even if it looks like it goes over and you can see, you can't really. So you must activate that cell and you must say wrap text. Oh, I see now. Okay, I see my mistake. There's a mistake now I've made, but I want you to just take note of how to wrap. But I actually don't like when they do it like this. But just quickly take a note of this. I'm actually glad this happened. Can you see that apartment and code is not wrapped? It is in the row 9 and 10. Okay, so apologies for that. Sometimes it is wrap, but now you know how to wrap if you forgot. So you're going to put apartment in row 9 and you're going to put code. So there's a specific reason why they give you this template. It's not to be funny or to be grand that they put the ABC. You must actually make sure that your stuff is exactly done like this. Okay? So I'm just going to go back into that. So apartment, then you've got capacity. Then you have the number of persons. Ooh, again, I'm making that mistake. Number of must be in that cell and persons must be in that cell. And then you're going to have the date. I'm going to auto fit my cells now. And it's going to be date out. And you're going to have a price. And then the next cell is going to be per day. And that's going to be per person. Please note, if I can just quickly bring your attention back to this, let's say that whole thing was 9, then you would have known, and 11 and 12 started there, then you would have known that that was wrapped. Okay, so that's the difference. The difference would have been that that whole cell there, so that 10, if it looked like this, and it started there with 10, do you understand what I'm saying? Forget that now. Okay? If that was written on your paper like that, then this means this was wrapped. Okay? But you see the difference now. Okay? There's a 10 there, so you must type in the exact column and cell row in there. Okay, so I'm back at amount due, which is in row H. And then the last one says the percentage of the total. Okay, so now, I'm not done. Now I have to put in the, okay, but again, I've done this wrong. It must say of the total, but now at least you're not going to make that mistake on Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, so can you see my next cell starts here? It says, please, oh, they've got funny names. Honna. Oh, sorry. Please. The next one is going to be in tab. We're going to have a A12. Then we're going to have a 2, a 2. Okay, I think okay, I'm going to show you the dates now because I know that that was not so nice for you. Okay, I'm not going to put in the commas. I'm going to tell my computer to do that for me. I'm going to come back to the dates just now, ne? Thusbu, and then that was, okay, I'm just going to put those values in. Sorry, I have to type in all of this now, otherwise our calculations might not work. So just give me 2 minutes to quickly just do that. Maybe you can go through the question paper so long and make sure there isn't anything else that you would like to ask me on this. Just don't ask me now while I'm typing. Just keep your questions to the end. Okay, and then there's Bobby. And then there is Leratu. Okay, and then that is a 12. That's going to be 223. C34. D45. Gompies. Sorry. A13. And then it's going to be, remember students, most of you sent me a message afterwards and said that you struggled with the time. Please, you need to pace yourself and tell yourself that do stuff that you know you're good in. If you're very good in Word and mail merge, try to do that. It's different sections, so you can manipulate what you start with. You just need to put it in the correct order. Please put it in the correct order. Make sure your stuff is in the correct order. The examiner is not going to see, oh, it's Nigel. He's always so nice to me. Okay, shame, man. He didn't have time. He's not going to see your name. He's just going to see your ID number. He doesn't care. Unfortunately, that is how it is. So please keep that in mind. It's like your matric exams you wrote many moons ago for me. But anyway, that was the same. You had an examiner number and they couldn't care less if your mom was the Queen of England. Okay. So, and then you've got numbers here to 20, and I'm almost done to 40, to 60, to 80, to 60, to 40, to 20, oopsie, to 20, and the last one is 200. Okay, now this has 2 decimals, so I'm going to mark it and I'm going to say I want 2 decimals. I'm going to put it in. Can you see this is actually a very good example of what I've just explained. Can you see there is decimals there? However, I cannot use decimals. I need to use full stop. I just want to make sure my laptop isn't calibrated. I think my laptop is calibrated in full stops. We'll see now when we'll do that. But just remember, can you see what I was trying to explain to you? Okay, now this is where the pawpaw hits the fan. Let's quickly go and have a look at the date. I'm going to put in the borders now. Just quickly have a look at the date. Now, obviously, you need to put in the date there by saying you want the date. So I'm going to go to more number formats and I'm going to choose date. Remember, you can also type it in. Sorry, this is the type that you choose, but I'm going to show you now how to type it in. Or you can actually go and change it to United States until you find the correct one. I know some of you said that specific format wasn't there. So I just quickly want to show you how to go about. So you're going to choose custom and you're going to type in there. Can you see you need to understand that in the context, it looks like it is the month, the day, and then the month, and then the year. Okay, so let's quickly type that in. So it's day, slash, month, slash, year. Okay, so yeah, why there's anything. Okay, so if it was 2020, you are actually telling that computer how your custom needs to be. If there was one like that, you could have selected, but the separations isn't there. And then you say, okay. Then you're going to say 10, 12, 20. Okay? And hopefully now it gives you the correct one. If it scummels around your 12 and your 10, then you must just go back to that custom and make sure that you've created it correctly. Okay? So I'm just going to autofill it and change it by hand so that everything is still in custom. I'm just going to make sure that, okay, so that all is in custom. If you autofill it, it maybe not change the format. But okay, rather be safe and highlight all of that and make it custom, okay, before you change. So that needs to be 15. Oh, sorry, all of that needs to be 10. So we can leave it 10. So we can copy it. Sorry. And then we can start off here by saying 13, 12, 2020. It's, okay, again, I see that. Can you see now? It is the date given. So I must go back again to more. I choose custom and I say I want it to be, sorry. Then you can sort of see how I do it again. So it's again day, / month, / year. Okay? And you're going to say, okay, and then that's going to work. And then you're going to say 15 of the 12, 2020. And you're going to say the next one is the 17th of the 12th, 2020. So you need to type in that / 19, 12, 2020. And please make sure your nums lock is selected if you do it in this kind of way, because sometimes some of you are not focusing and then this happens. The next one is 15, 12, 20. Did I skip one now? There's two 90s. I think there's, yeah, sorry, um, there's another 19 below that one. And then there's a 17, and then there's a Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, sorry, but at least now you see that it even takes me some time to do this stuff. 20, and then there's another 15, 12, 20, and then the last one is the 13th of the 12, 20. Okay, so now everything is typed in. Now let's just quickly go back to the what they said you must also insert your header. Remember, it's going to be the same. Insert your header and your footer, but differently from word each. You have to actually go to the footer. Okay, I think you're all quite familiar with that. Just make sure you type it in the correct uppercase or lowercase, and then I normally just switch to my normal view again because I don't like that view. And then they are also asking you to do not insert the row and column headings, the borders. It was only inserted to indicate. So they are basically telling you, you don't put in these ABC, those rows. Okay? So you're going to print it without that. Okay, I'm going to show you. I have showed you before, but I'm just going to show you again later on. Let's just quickly go um, to the next one. It says you must use the method you are familiar with. Now, basically, there's a couple of options. I like to use with this specific one. I'm going to use the drawing toolbar. So I'm going to draw my border. Just make sure you select the line style before you do anything else. Okay? And then you start drawing because this is a specific drawing. So underneath booking, and it goes over to I. Okay, I'm going to shape it now so that's on one page. And then there must be one there. And then there's obviously going to be a one going down all the way until after Laredo. And then you must go and practice this, hey? It looks easy, and it is easy, but sometimes when you know, then it goes all over the place like that. Okay, so just get comfortable with clicking and holding the mouse in. As you can see now, I'm also struggling. Okay, and then you can I'm just going to show you as you can see, mine doesn't want to do the whole thing. So you must maybe, then you can maybe try to use another one. Okay. Another method is, now you can see all of this is done, but I don't have my lines that go down. So I can either do it like this, or I see now it's my page. That's why it doesn't want to do it, because it's the end of my page. That's why it doesn't want to go in there. Okay, so this is a nice one for me, but like I said, it depends on you. You must go and figure it out. Okay, and then if you can't get out of it again, like I showed you in Word, just press Escape. I just quickly want to see if this is printed in a landscape. It says A4 landscape, yes, because that's why it maybe doesn't fit. Okay, it fits, and then can you see my border was actually drawn in there. But can you see that I don't want there, but I'm glad it happened now, because now I can show you. It's probably going to happen to you as well. Then you go to pink erase border. It's a little eraser. Hold it in and just take it out, just like a little click, 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 and it takes it out. Okay, now I said I'm going to show you where to print. Remember, they don't want this stuff, this A4, what. Okay, in other words, the row headings and the column headings. This is the rows and the columns. So then you choose. If this was selected, you take it off. It means you're not going to print it. Let's just go to print preview and see. Can you see that? I'm glad this happened so that we can also see. I want a border there. I want a border to the left and to the top. Okay, so let's just quickly put in a border. I'm going into home and I'm going to say I want to draw a border, and I want one there at the top. I hope it gives me that. And I want one down here because I can't probably see now. So let's just see print Yes, now it's drawn. So just make sure, I remember way back when I did this course just to make sure I'm on par with the students. And I remember when I wrote my exam, I lose my points for that. So make sure in your print preview that you actually put it in. Okay, so that's that. This is just the beginning. Now let's start off with actually the part that I think most of you want to know. Are you still there? You're very quiet. Are you still there?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am, I'm also
wonderful.
here.
Okay, let's carry on. Now it says there, insert new columns and row as indicated on the spreadsheet. Now I'm going to go into my question paper again quickly just to show you we're working on this template now. And can you see this must be inserted? It is before the I. And then I think another, that was text that was insert. I don't see any rows. Oh, there's a row at 12. Okay, so let's go quickly back to this. So I always tell my students, remember in life, you need to put people before you. Unfortunately, it's not always a very nice thing to do, but that is sometimes the best and the right and the moral thing to do is to put people before you. Okay, so in Word, we have the option in a table to insert below, in front, etc. Okay, they give you the option there. Let's say, yeah, I want to insert a row, then they give me, can you see, it gives me the option of columns left, right, in, above and below. Unfortunately, in Excel, it doesn't give you that option. So you need to know that if your column needs to go in front of I, in other words, you see that the column must be, that was inserted was actually before age. Okay, because amount is gonna swift now down. There must actually be a due, I see now. Okay, that's gonna, so you need to put your cursor on that. And what is, so it's gonna make sense now what I said of people putting before you. That's how I remember it. It's gonna put the column now in front of the age. Okay, so you're gonna right click and you're gonna say insert and it's gonna move. Okay, so that's how you do it. So that was going to be the number, and then of is in a new cell, and days is in the next cell. Okay, and then they also say to insert a row. It goes for the same. You can use that same option as I told you. You put it there, it's going to put a row above you. You're going to move one down. So you're going to say insert a row, and can you see it has moved down now to 13, so it looks like theirs. And then we must just quickly insert these ones. It's going to be the total amount due, and then it must be the highest number of days, and then it's going to be the lowest number of days, and then it's going to be the average percentage of total. Okay, so and then you will see on your sheet, please take note that you put it in the correct column. That is in column J, so you're going to work the answers out there in column J. Okay, so let's just quickly have a look at the questions now. So you know by now that when you go into your question paper, they ask you for, let's say, for instance, A, and they give you the indication of B and C and E, etc. Okay, so let's just quickly go into our spreadsheet. It tells you to change all of these. So from 1AJ to all of that, you must merge and center the rows across. Okay, so I'm going to first do that. I'm going to merge and center. Ooh, okay, obviously you must merge it must now first like that. Otherwise, it sees it as one big one. So you must just merge all of that by its own. Oopsie. I've merged it across the whole flippin' workbook. Okay. Um, so that is also merge and center. And then you must also change all of these to Comic Sans 16 board. Okay, I hope I do understand this correctly, because if I look at this, it might also just must refer to the top one. But now I have a problem with this, because then they should have maybe put it on this side. You see, I would have preferred if they put it here, because the reason is this little thing tells me that it's included everything. But okay, let's assume by looking at the memo that this was what they was giving. Unfortunately, that is one of the things. You always take the risk of losing 1 or 2 marks because you interpreted it in a different way. But yeah, it's not, don't stress about it too much. Okay, just make sure you get your marks where you're supposed to get your marks, because remember, now you will not lose that mark there. But you'll maybe lose the mark for that. But okay, it's fine. Now they are asking you there by B, so you need to put into B7 the date, and you must use the date for today. Now remember, your papers are marked as a hard copy, but let's say it was not marked as a hard copy, then this formula would have given the examiner the opportunity to, whenever he or she logged into your digital file, this would be updated automatically. So this is what they wanted. Okay, they didn't give you a specific format. So they wanted you to use that today's formula. Okay, so just take note of that. That was A. Then at B, they are asking you to calculate the number of days with the formula you are familiar with. Okay, the number of days. Now, I just want to take you to the question paper to show you the following. Don't make it more difficult than it is. If it says there, take the amount due multiplied by the amount of days, then type it in. But I see they were quite very nasty with you this time, because they only gave you very limited information. But anyway, let's do this. Calculate the number of days with the formula you are familiar with. Now remember, the days referred to, you must now get the context of your question. Okay, it's a holiday accommodation. They're coming in at a certain date and they're leaving at a certain date. Now, because this is in a date format, okay, we've created a date format. Excel has the ability to also calculate in that format. So you can literally just use your brain now, and unfortunately, that is where Excel becomes a little bit more difficult than the other applications of Microsoft, is that it is a bit mathematical. You need to try to understand now that to work out the days that you've stayed there, you need to take the date that you have left the place, and you need to subtract the date that you came. Okay? And then it will give you 3 days, which is correct. And remember, then you can use the autofill. They don't specify, um, don't give the numbers of, but they'll probably do it later on. So we'll change that. Soma doesn't look lacquer to me, but I'm going to show you now. Then the amount due. You also, that's why I say they were a bit nasty with you. They normally, what they do is they tell you here that the amount due equals they will say the total of days multiplied by the price per day. Okay, but yeah, sorry, that's a mistake there. But okay, you get the feeling of why this could have been a bit extra hard for you, because I just said amount due, so you had to think a little bit further. It's not that difficult, but yes. So it's going to be equal to that, and then you're going to remember in Excel you don't use a multiplication sign. So you're going to use your asterisk and you're going to say multiplied by 3 and you're going to press enter. Okay? Okay, let me just quickly see. And then, okay, sorry, it says amount due per person. Oh, they were very nasty with you. So, yo. So, okay, sorry, I am a maths teacher and I would have not seen that. But can you see now that price was per person. Okay, so can you see why you need to multiply it by the 2 and then by another? Because this is the price for one person. So for 2 people, you're gonna have to multiply it by 2 as well. Just go and have a look again at that. Okay, I'm gonna change the format on that now. Let's just do all the calculations. Then in E, they say the percentage of the total. Okay, sorry, the total amount due. Okay, I'm going to get to this. Can you see it's changed my borders there? Just remember to put it in again. This is another way in which you can put it in. You can just say you want the bottom border. Okay? So let's quickly look at the total amount due. If you look at the calculation here, it just says total amount due, but you need to now again think a little bit further. Make sure you calculate it in the correct column. It was asked of you in J, so please don't calculate it in C. You must calculate it there. So you're going to say equal sum, okay? Then you're
Hi,
going to
ma'am. I can't
double
see your
click
screen
on that.
now.
Yes? Oh, I thought somebody asked
It's
something. And
okay. I
then,
can see it now.
sorry,
I can see the screen, ma'am, now.
you
I
can't
couldn't see
see.
your screen, but I can see it now.
Oh, okay. So everything is okay. Can I carry on?
Not from my side, ma'am. I still can't see.
You can't see. Okay, let's
Yes,
just.
I can see the screen.
Okay, so you can't see it. Let's just quickly see. Okay, can you share? Can you see it now?
Now I cannot see it, ma'am. Now I can see.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, now I can see, ma'am.
Okay, so did you lose any information now?
No, I didn't,
Okay,
ma'am.
so we are busy calculating D. That was the total amount. Okay, so I'm just gonna conclude my formula there. I think you're all familiar with sum. I can just quickly show you again. It's going to be equal. You can just type in the first 2 or 3 letters. You double click on sum and you select that and you press enter. Okay. Now, please listen, students, because this hasn't changed for the last million years. You need to understand this calculation. I'm going to show you in an easy way and then I'm going to apply it to this. Okay, I know this because my students in math struggle with this a lot. So I don't blame you for not understanding this. It says the percentage of the total. In other words, they are asking you what percentage of each of these of the total is applicable now. Okay? So let me quickly explain to you. Let's say you wrote a test that was out of 50. Okay? That was your grand total, the big marks. That was the amount that the question paper counted out of. Okay? You got 35 marks out of the big total of 50. You are going to calculate your percentage out of the total, because that is what it is. It's your mark out of the total. Can you see how it refers back to that? So you're going to say equal that. That is mathematically what you do. And you're going to say out of 50. Okay, and you're going to get the answer. Just hold on there for 5 seconds. Let me just quickly show you this on a Word document. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to explain to you is if you write a question paper and your mark is 35 out of 50, this is how it's going to look. Do you agree with me? Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. Then your teacher or lecturer has to multiply it by 100, okay, in order to get your percentage. So she is basically going to say 35, and then she's going to divide it. Now you will get what I'm doing now. So just hang on. 70, and you're going to times it with 100 to get the answer then of 70%. Okay? Do you all understand this method I'm doing here? Can I just get an indication? So this
Can
is
you
your...
please just repeat it again, ma'am?
Okay.
Please?
So let's say you got 35 out of 50 for a question. In other words, 35 of your answers was right. You got those red ticks that you also always looking for. The test counted out of a big grand total of 50. Okay? To get your percentage, you had to take the 35, remember, as a fraction. That actually means, that line means 35 divided by 100. Are you with me? Then, after you have divided by 100, you're going to get an answer that looks like that. Okay? And then you have to multiply it with 100, because that's mathematically what we do. We multiply by 100 to get a percentage. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's go back to the Excel. Okay? Excel also are asking of you now. You want the percentage of the total. You want the percentage for your test. It was 35 out of the 50, which means we said 35 divided by 50, which was the grand total. So that's why it isn't a mistake or toevallig. It wasn't what's toevallig in English? It wasn't by coincidence that I asked D
Yeah.
before E, because D is the 50. D is the big total. So you're going to say equal that amount divided by all of the big total. Okay? But you're not going to multiply it with 100. That is the big difference, because luckily Excel is a mathematical application. It works out calculations. Okay, that's its job. That's why it was designed by Microsoft. So I'm going to show you now what happens. Okay, whoa, I know what I did wrong. Sorry. I'm going to show you now. I know what I did wrong. I'm actually glad that happened. That is an error message you don't want to see. I told the learners yesterday, you can have an error message that looks like this. Have you, all of you, probably seen this before? This error message is fine to see, because if you see that, it just means your contents can't fit your column. You must just make it bigger. So that's fine. But the one that you've seen now, when I did this, you don't want to see it. It feels like Excel is swearing at you. He probably is. Okay, so what you need to understand is, and this is why this was such a very nasty one, is not that they stop there. They didn't even tell you to use cell referencing, but you need to understand the concept of cell referencing before you can apply it. What is cell referencing, students? Cell referencing is a built-in function in Excel that lets you multiply a whole of a column with the same amount, or not only multiplication, it can be addition, it can be subtraction, it can also be division in this case. Does it make sense to you that all of these values must be divided by the same grand total? All of my students' test must be divided by 50. Does it make sense to you? So I am going to cell reference I-22. What does cell reference mean? It means I activate that cell and then Excel stores it in its memory. And when I recall that formula, it will apply it to each one that is being autofilled. Okay, so I'm going to do this whole thing over again. And that's why it gave me that swear error message. It's telling me you don't know what you're doing. You're having a blonde moment. Okay, so you're going to say equal this because this is my amount that I got for the test. And listen, I'm always using that example because no matter if it's monkeys you're counting or if it's cars you're selling, it always works like this. And you're going to divide it over the big amount. But remember now, this is the amount that you want to be stored in Excel's brain. You want to use this again and again and again. So then you must press F4. Sorry. You must press F4. My computer is there. Okay, sorry, I have one of those FN that you need to hold in. F4 is gonna create an activated cell reference. In other words, somebody asked me yesterday, ma'am, when do I push it now? Before or after? After, yes, because if you press it then I-13 is going to be cell reference. You first click the cell and then you press F4. And then you make sure in your formula the dollar signs appear because that is the indication that you've cell referenced that cell. And now you can go and press enter. And now when I autofill that, I don't have to stress about my swearing because this is going to be okay. Okay? But now just also note, some of you get the autofill incorrectly. Make sure there's 3 crosses in Excel. There's one that looks like this, a white ambulance cross, where you select your cells. Okay? Then you get the one with the arrows that adjust your cell columns. Okay? Then the third cross is the one that I've used to autofill. Wait for it to appear. If it's there, it's wrong. If it's there, it's wrong. You must make sure it's on that square and you pull it down. Okay? I'm going to leave this for now because they're not yet asking us, but we can somewhat know that they're going to ask it for percentage, and they actually do in number 10. So let me just quickly show you now. Remember, if I can just backtrack my steps. I told you that I multiplied with 100. I'm now at this step. This has not been done yet. This is not done. Okay? I stopped there. But now, like I've explained, Excel is a mathematical application. It's calculating. So it must have a built-in function for that. And that's why we use percentages, because the moment I choose my format of my cell to be percentages, look at what happens. That value is already then multiplied by 100 automatically. When I choose percentage, it's going to be the same for that 70%. I choose, and then Bob's your uncle, I just don't want it to look like that. Then I take the decimals out. Okay, so I've already actually applied number 10, but we'll get back to that. Now they're asking you to display the date, okay, as follows. Now I assume that they're referring to the date in and the date out. Okay, so remember you've typed it in the previous question. So you now have to go again into more number formats and you need to go and change that into year. Sorry, I'm just going to make sure. I don't think it makes a difference if it's in that, but let's just make it like that. And then and then day. Okay, you need to now change that. And let's say, okay, and then it's changed correctly. Okay, can you see it hasn't changed that? We still have to change that display. Okay, now number 8 says, I'm not done with my calculations. Can you see, students, why it's so important to do this? You must go and say, I have done this and this. Because can you see how I jump around now? Then I forget about those 3. So mark it with a highlighter. But let's do that now, F, G, and H, so that it's done, and then I'll carry on with number 7 and 8. The total we've done. Now we have at the highest number of days. Now, if you're talking about the highest temperature during a day, we're talking about the maximum, and the lowest would be the minimum. That is how I remember my functions. So it's going to be the highest is going to be equal to MA. So we know it's a double click of the max. We want the number of days. So I'm going to select that, or although it's in another column, it does not matter. And then the lowest number of days I said is going to be my minimum. So I double click. Remember to double click. Again, it's the same column, and I press enter. By pressing enter, it will insert the close bracket for you already. And then H is my average. So I will start off with AVE. I will double click, and they want the average of this column. It says the percentage of the total. They're referring to the column. And then I just press that. Now I'm at 8. It says the number of days, in other words, this, as well as the highest number of days, must be integers. Okay, so the number of days, and I don't know why they're not saying lowest, so I'm going to leave it as is. Integers means it is not allowed to have any decimals. Again, it's unfortunately mathematical. Mathematical, you get 5 types of numbers. You get a whole number, a natural number, an integer, a decimal, and a decimal fraction. Now, unfortunately, not all of you know that, but then just remember for Thursday that integers is not allowed to be displayed like this. So you can change it then as no, just decrease your values, and the same with that. Leave the others as is because they didn't say anything. That is what integers means. Okay? Without any decimals. Then they are asking you to price per day per person, the amount due, the total amount due, and the price, what was the other one? The price per person. Okay. The lowest price per person. Okay, so they actually, did I make a mistake here? Did they actually, oh, you see my mistake here. This shouldn't be lowest number of days. This should be lowest number per person. Well, it actually just realized it now because I realized this must be a currency. Okay, so then I just quickly have to just do the minimum over again. It was applicable on the on this column. Okay, now they want this to be currency. I'm not going to select now. I can select this and this and this, but sometimes with my luck, it goes wrong. So I'm just going to do it set by set. So this must be currency, and it said it must be with 2 decimals. But if it says with no decimals, then you know you must decrease it. Okay, but for now, it must be 2 decimals. And then they also want that to be a currency. So you're going to choose that with 2 decimals. And I think the amount due. Now I'm thinking, do they want all of that? I don't know if they want the total amount to be included. So again, it's one of those things you're not sure, but anyway, it doesn't say total, but again, 2 decimals. Okay, so that's how they want it to look. Then they want that to be displayed as the percentages, and also the average. We have the average, the percentage of the total. So both those. We've already done it, and I've showed you if multiplied by 100 when you do that. Then they are asking you to adjust the column widths. Okay, it looks like everything is quite in a range. Just make sure it actually tells you it doesn't want any decimals. So you need to go and decrease those decimals to nothing. Okay, just take note of that. Just make a little tick on that is number 10. I'm just quickly going to go back to my template to make sure everything has been done. It has been done. So I can then safely make this page layout on landscape, which it is. But before I'm done, please have a look at my borders. It has changed now. Okay, so please just make that borders neatly again. You have to go again to home. I can somewhere see there's stuff bothering me. There mustn't be a border. It unfortunately happens. And then you must also just insert, draw a border there. And it looks like they actually want a border down there. Although they don't ask for borders. I don't think you'll get a mark for borders. I'll just have a look on the memo. But yeah, looks like you do get a mark. If I look at the memo, then the memo says yes. So let's just quickly then draw the borders in. So it's just always safe to use that template as your guidance. Okay, so just draw in the borders. And then there's just one thing that I'm looking at now. I'm gonna that's bothering me a bit, and that's cell A because it goes over to that. Let me just quickly erase that one again. Please go and practice these borders tonight or whenever you have time. Okay, I'm just going to quickly, can you see A just needs to be auto adjust there? Can you see it wasn't displayed very nicely? And then can you see there's actually a row 26 in there as well, but I don't actually think it was part of that. If you quickly go to your question paper, you will see that that was only part of this to put in the insert borders. Oh, it says here the borders, so that's why you get a mark for it. Okay, but then that I don't think row 26 has to be in there because it's part of the explanation. Okay, so we're almost done, students. We just have to do the graph. So yes, if there's any questions, you can send me a message afterwards. I just want to save some time. And then just make note, it says there you must print it with row and column heading. So remember I showed you earlier, you'll find that under page layout, you say print, and when I show you on the print preview, you will see that everything is nicely done just as it is on your memo, and it must have the ABCs and the 1 to 26. Okay, well, it gives you the 26 now, so it's fine. Okay, then I'm going to do the graph, although I think most of you are quite fine with the graph. I'm just quickly it's gonna be 5 seconds or more than that, 5 minutes. Okay, so quickly we're going to work on this because we want to retrieve it, but this is what we already have open. You need to put your name, your surname left, and your question D right. That's fine. We know how to do that. You're going to insert a header, and then you ask to create a pie graph displaying percentage of total for each person. Okay? So you need the percentage of the total, so you're going to use that as well as that. Can you see I use my control button? Okay. You can also mark everything in between and right click and hide it. Okay, but if it's too much for your brain now, just use control. But this is also a very nice one. Don't highlight that, only highlight your names and the percentages. Then you're going to go into insert. You obviously need to know what a pie graph is. If you don't, then hover. You choose the first one there. Then they ask you to insert the following over 2 lines. So remember what I told you. You double click there by title. You're going to put in the percentage of the total. Make sure if it gives you the capital letters that it stays. Remember what I've taught you. You can press enter on your nums lock until you blue. It will not give you another line. You must press your other enter on your keyboard, and then you must put in your name and your surname. I'm not going to type everything out now to save time. And then it says the data label should be displayed. Now remember, everything you need to know is on your design format or your format or your design little button. So click there. If you click anywhere else, you're not going to find it. You must click on your graph, and then you're going to go to design, and you're going to go to that is your best friend now in this stage of the game. Then you can to obviously choose your chart title to be above. Maybe they say you want it overlay, which doesn't look very nicely, so keep it there. Then in this question at number 5, they say data label should be displayed with the best fit option. Now, yeah, I don't know what is the best fit option. Sorry, this is the legend. Sorry. This isn't a nice one. I would say maybe the outside end. They can't, sorry. I see there's an option best fit. Okay, sorry for that. It's the best fit option. So you actually choose that. And then, I will go get to the save part now. I just quickly want to, and then the legend must be displayed at the bottom. Okay, can you see it can also be displayed? So just read it carefully there. And then just take note as well that you can change the style there. If they maybe ask you for style 8 or whatever, you can change it there. And then they want the graph to be printed on a new sheet. How do you do that? You right click, you say move chart, you say new sheet, you say okay, and you print this for them. Okay, this is what they want. This is how you will do it. Okay, so just remember, if I can just quickly go back to showing you the chart. If you're working with a pie chart, do you realize obviously you won't have an axis because a pie chart is not drawn like that. But obviously when you have a line graph or a column graph, then you're going to have axis there. So that's going to be different. You can name those axes. You can maybe also have the key, which is then now called the legend. Okay, so just remember also in Excel, you maybe won't see your header and your footer now, but once you print it, then it will appear. I didn't insert it now, so I'm not going to see it, but this is how you would see it if you want to see it. Okay, so that is Excel. We're at 5 o'clock, so for the sake of time, on my and your end, I'm going to stop the recording now. And then I'm just quickly want to talk to you for 5 seconds so that we can just all be on the same page. Are you still there? Okay, so basically, students, I'm going to give you the opportunity to send me a private message with regards to MailMerge database. If you were not in the class, I will encourage you to watch those small little snippets I've sent to you yesterday. If you have the question paper in front of you and you work through it, it's going to make sense. And I think it's better like that because you can go on your own pace and you can actually pause and rewind that snippet. And I made it like that in small little bits so that it's easily shared and that you can choose which one you want to look at. I will share this part of Excel. I didn't record Word, but I'll send the Excel part to you. If there's anything else then on your practical or your test or any other old question paper you have with you or maybe come across, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm not going to have a fixed video call with you again. However, I'm going to be available whenever you need me. So if you want an individual class, maybe, then you can arrange that with me. I'll then maybe invite others as well. But I'm not going to have a fixed time again in this week because I know your externals is starting and it's going to be hectic. Okay, so all the best, but please, this is not the last of me that you will be hearing or seeing of. Please talk to me during the week. Looks like if I say the word memo, then I have